hey, poor little man, we know you can't really do anything. You make all the money and get bossed around by your wife, but you have a cool CEO. You're a COO position.
Who is the leader or the CEO of a relationship? Is it the man put up green, or is it completely equal and or the woman put up red? Man if it's green, red if it's a female. Okay.
You guys
we're waiting on you.
Brainwashing these women.
We're waiting on you. Hold them up high, or we can't move on.
You guys been brainwashing these women. Look
I
at
don't
them.
know.
Jasmine's still confused. She's dating 19-year-olds, then she wants to date Patrick Dempsey. She don't know what's going on.
Can't let him drive my car.
So for the most part, you guys agree that a man should be the leader of a relationship. So there's something called the corporate model for relationships. So if you look at the hierarchy in any business, it starts with the top as the CEO or the founder, and then you have the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, you have the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, then you have different CEO seats called C-suites, all right? The CIO, Chief Information Officer, Chief Marketing Officer, Technology, Culture, Happiness, Compliance, HR. There's multitude of things out there in a company, all right? So this particular article, I don't know if you want to pull this up real quick, Malik. It's basically saying that your marriage needs or relationship needs a CFO and a COO. So a CFO in a relationship would obviously handle the finances, the budgets, the investments.
I know the CEO isn't part of that list.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to start with that. Then you get the COO, the day-to-day operations. They're running the calendar. They're picking up the kids, all that stuff. So the reason they basically highlight this is because they're efficiently splitting chores, accomplishing tasks. They're basically, we talked about the hierarchy. We talked about men where women are more egalitarian, men were more hierarchical. That's why there's a general manager, there's the coach, there's the quarterback. Everything goes on from there. And the CFO, COO system creates a sense of purpose, autonomy, and trust within couples, letting them play to their strengths while ensuring that one isn't merely second in command. But you ladies were basically totally comfortable saying that the man should be the CEO in a relationship. So let's start with the men, and then we'll go to the women. But think of the things that I just said in the C-suite position. If the man is the CEO, what are you going to be? All right, are you the COO, CFO, CIO, Chief Marketing, Information, Technology, Culture, Happiness, Compliance, HR? You're going to pick your career, all right, what you're going to bring to a relationship if the man is the CEO. But Rolo, you're married.
Sure.
You're 27 years.
Yep.
How would you basically describe your corporate?
I'm the husband. That's what I am.
Okay.
Simple as that. And it's, I think that when we put it into like little cutesy, COO, CEO, all that stuff is just to pander to guys saying you have some, you actually have some rights. You actually have, you're actually important in all of this. We're gonna use a corporate structure for your marriage, which is really an egalitarian marriage. But we're gonna say you're the CEO and you're the CFO.
But are you not the leader of your relationship?
Absolutely.
So you are the CEO.
Well, CEO, but do I have the authority? That's what this really this comes down to. Because what this is like, so the reason why they want to cast it in like things like positions like the Chief Financial Officer. Because let's break down what those acronyms really mean. Chief Financial Officer, the Chief Operating Officer, the Chief Executive Officer. If I'm making the money, if I'm making the decisions, if I'm making it all comes down to the one captain that's on the ship. And I hear this all the time. We used to talk about this in the old days. There was the captain of the ship, and then there's the first officer. And I hated that because it's like, no, if the ship goes down, the captain goes down with the ship, okay? The first officer can abandon ship and do whatever the hell he wants to do or she wants to do. The thing is that when it comes down to responsibility and when women keep saying, well, men need to take more responsibility, well, when the shit hits the fan, he's the one who goes down with the ship. It's not going to be the CEO or all that fun, cutesy stuff, all these designations, that goes flying out the window when that guy gets zeroed out because he lost his job or because something happened in his life that he is unable, like maybe it was an accident, maybe it was a medical condition or something like that. When that guy experiences that, all this cutesy bullshit about like hierarchy, they want to put hierarchy into an egalitarian framework when everyone knows that when you are in a modern sort of Western marriage right now, it has nothing to do with that. Is like you can't out alpha the state. The CEO in that, as far as the state is concerned, is still always going to be.
So, but that's a little counter too, because all these girls basically said that the man is the
want
CEO.
that.
No, they
I'm
didn't.
saying they want that. Yes,
All
I'm not
these
saying
girls
that like
didn't
from a naturalistic perspective. Yes, because women want a man who's stronger than them, makes
don't
more
want a
money than
boss,
them, is
I
more
want a
intelligent,
husband.
is taller. There's so many different metrics by which women want a guy. Like women can't look up to a man who is her equal. They want a guy that they can admire, that they can respect.
The CEO.
And that guy has to be.
Doesn't
That guy
have
has
to
to.
be my
That guy has
boss.
to have.
Why
that
does
thing.
it have to be the boss
I'll
of me?
explain. So here's the reason. Because if there is going to be leadership, you say this men need to man up and take responsibility, and they need to lead in the family. What does the leadership imply? A hierarchy.
Sounds
There has to be
controlling.
someone at the top,
Yeah.
and there has to be,
Fuck that shit.
to have a leader, you have to have followers. There has to be an establishment of a chain of command, like we were saying before. Men tend to think of organizing society and organizing their tribes hierarchically. Women tend to do it in the round. They tend to do it in communitarianism, so for lack of a better term, socialism. Everybody gets a piece. Egalitarianism sounds like a good idea for women. For men, we compete with each other. So a hierarchy is up and down. If you're expecting men to be the leader of the household, it's not about who's the CFO and who's the CEO and all this other stuff. It doesn't mean you're not heard within that relationship. But what it's saying is that the ultimate authority and the ultimate responsibility in that relationship falls on the man's shoulders and no one else's. It used to be that way. Patriarchy used to be, an idealized sense of patriarchy used to be a much more balanced system than what we have right now. Because in an idealized state and in a patriarchal state, there is responsibility, and a man has a commensurate authority in that to affect what he's responsible for. So a man is responsible for his children, for his family. What's the first thing we say when a kid commits a crime, or he's drug addiction?
Where was
or
his
whatever?
father?
Where's the dad? Right?
Yeah.
Because our heads, our hindbrains, automatically go back to what we learned.
Well, let me ask you
what
this.
we evolved to.
Let me ask you this.
Default to.
Does your wife currently work?
No.
When's the last time she worked?
About a year and a half ago.
Okay, so what did she do for work?
She was a medical professional. Let's just say.
She was a medical. Okay, gotcha. And she's retired now?
I
Or what?
retired her.
You retired her. You're the CEO.
I'm the CEO.
Congratulations.
I have authority.
That's right. Michael.
Please check out all 5 books in the Rational
Yes.
Male
Yeah.
series.
Available on Amazon.
His wife
Let's-
is now
Let
retired.
me give you
There it is.
a quick example,
Yeah.
though. But even prior to
Best-selling
this,
author.
even prior to this, for instance, when I used to live in Reno and I was working in the alcohol industry, wine and spirits, I had a job opportunity to move to Orlando. And I told my wife, I said, we're moving to Orlando. I've got a really great job opportunity. We're going to go there. There was no, what about my career? What about my family? What about this? What about my friends? It was like, you're my husband. I go where you go. That was the conversation. That was the end of it. I took her out
Respect.
to we had sushi. She said, I go where you go. And that was the decision, and that's what we did.
There it is.
I was making a bit more money than she was, but
Yeah.
it was still, that was the default response.
Well, congrats on retiring your wife, bro.
you.
It's amazing.
One of you girls are going to get retired by one of these men out there these days. Michael,
She's a woman of leisure.
you're in a relationship. You're hearing this corporate hierarchy thing. You run a sales business. You're dating a young girl. Who's the CEO of your relationship? Is it true that she's the CEO of the
So
relationship?
I look at it as me being the chairman and the founder, and I hire and fire the CEO. That's the way I look at it. And also, this, by the way, I didn't get this analogy from Red Pill. I got this. I used to be in a Christian ministry for 4 years. They talk about whenever you are looking for a wife as a Christian man, you're actually doing a job interview and you're looking for a CEO. She's going to represent me. She's going to have something to do with the finances. Right now, Kylie is taking care of things in my home in Las Vegas. She's doing that. That's what happens. That's why. And I've told her several times, I'm like, I want you to be a bigger part of my business and a bigger part of my life socially. I want you to meet my family. I want it to get to the point where she's doing our travel plans, all this kind of stuff. So I want to give her more of that responsibility. In doing so, I'm training, and training is not the right word, but I want her to come in and have that occupation in my business, right? Does that
But
make
at the
sense?
end of the day,
she represents the brand.
She'd be the COO because she's operating.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. COO, but like
Yeah.
the way I say it
She's
is
also the
I-
marketing director.
Yeah, she's also. Yeah, she
Girls,
is.
start
Chief
thinking of what your
advertising
C-suite job you want with your husband, lady, because I'm going to call on you for a second.
Yeah, but the reason,
Yeah.
I think the part we're missing is that you're looking at a progressive publication that's explaining COO and CFO. Do you know what the COO can't do? He can't fire the CFO, and the CFO cannot fire
Yes.
the COO.
That's why I was very clear on making sure that there's a CEO
Yeah,
involved.
but they were very clear in making sure there
Specifically
wasn't.
did
That
that.
is the point of that article. The point of the article is not
There's
no
no
what place.
authority.
It's funny because
Yes.
we're reading the article as in where is your woman in this whole thing? And that article was written to patronize men. It's like, hey, poor little man, we know you can't really do anything. You make all the money and get bossed around by your wife, but you have a cool CEO. You're a COO position.
Yes.
That's essentially what the article
We'll
is
let
saying.
you feel
So-
important.
We'll let you feel important. You're still part of this as well.
Guys, let's not read too much of the article. I want to know what these guys clearly the CEO. The girl's already admitted it. Sterling, well, you've got all these things going on in your life.
He has a lot of
When
employees.
you hear these C-suite, you haven't had a corporate job ever? Yeah?
Technically corporate, never.
Yeah, okay.
So I used to work in like...
I'm corporate as fuck
He's
over
got
here.
a bunch of
I've worked for
W-9
corporations
employees.
for the
That's
last
what he's
20
got.
years.
She's W9. That's what she
There it
is.
is. How would you want your relationship to work? Like, what type of C-suite executive would you want in your life? Meaning, you could have a COO in your life. I assume you want to be the CEO. You could have a chief marketing officer. You could have a chief technology officer. Culture, happiness, compliance, HR. There's so many different.
I'm making up a new
C-suite
title.
executives.
I'm making an entirely
Yeah,
new
go ahead.
new
Make
position
stuff
for it.
up. Make stuff up.
She's now the Chief Peace and Comfort Officer.
I love that. Well,
That's
the
her
chief.
job.
That's the chief happiness officer.
That's what I was
Yeah.
Yeah,
gonna
there is
say.
such thing.
Let's
She's
go.
happiness
Yes.
officer.
So she's human resources.
Yeah, so
Definitely not HR.
he's a solo entrepreneur, and they're a bunch of
Fun
gig
fact:
workers.
there's the Kingdom of Bhutan. There's something called the International Day of Happiness at the United Nations, and most countries are judged on GDP, right?
Yeah.
What's the GDP of the United States at this
Yeah.
point? 25 trillion.
23, 24
Okay,
trillion.
see,
Yep.
this is why I got Michael to fact check me. But the Kingdom of Bhutan does not even the GDP is nothing, but they have the chief, the CHP, because they judge their economy on the happiness.
Well, there is a happiness. There is a World
Exactly.
Happiness Index, I believe.
Exactly.
The United Nations looks at it
Exactly.
or something like that.
So
Yeah.
they don't go GDP, gross domestic product. They go gross happiness product. So sounds like what you want.
Sure.
You're gonna move to the Kingdom of Bhutan
No, I think I'll just move
in
to the
Southeast
countryside
Asia.
instead.
So why would you want the chief peace and comfort officer as
Because
your running
her,
mate?
That's her role. Like my job is I bring the cash in, I put a roof over her head, put food on the table, I make sure that's all taken care of. I steer the ship. I have a direction. I know where we're going. I know what the plan is.
Yeah.
Like I'll educate and indoctrinate my kids when they come out. Her job is just peace and comfort. Keep the house comfortable, peaceful. Don't add drama. That's
Well, what happens when you
primarily
do-
don't add drama.
What happens when you do something to piss her off?
I'll piss her off all the time. Then she gets to just be peaceful.
She can't complain?
She can complain to her friends. Well,